know, we had not experienced losing at all as individuals or as a team in that period of time at Ole Miss. And to lose to LSU in Baton Rouge, it was something that was hard to deal with. We just were not accustomed to that. It was a big ball game. It was a ball game that was played up in Sports Illustrated, and we had great success, but it was one of the all-time great games ever to be played in that series, in that contest between LSU and Ole Miss.
In 1959, they billed this game as the game of the season in collegiate football. The third-ranked Ole Miss Rebels took on the #1 and undefeated LSU Tigers in Baton Rouge, Louisiana on Halloween night, a Southeastern Conference matchup.
Insofar as playing in Tiger Stadium is concerned, that is an absolutely unparalleled experience for me and for anybody else who's played there. It's impossible to tell somebody how you feel about the noise and the color and the intense emotional level that's in place there. When you go out onto the field before the game, when you're in your street clothes, and you can't hear somebody talk, I mean, you have to make a pretty big adjustment there, and your whole approach to the game changes. If you're an offensive lineman, a guard, you can't hear the quarterback. That you just cannot hear anything that's said on the field. So it's an eerie kind of experience. But of course, once you get into the game, you begin to react instinctively, and I think that we did that. But I do believe that in my high school, college, and professional career as a player, no game stands out in my memory the way that particular game does, and it's because of that atmosphere that is, I think, unique to Tiger Stadium.
Ole Miss struck first with a 22-yard Robert Kayat field goal in the first quarter. Brilliant defensive play by both teams kept the score 3-0 going into the fourth quarter.
We were punting quite a bit on third down, as I recall, because of the condition of the football field. We didn't want to take a chance, backed up, fumble the football, give them a chance to move it in. And so I remember I had just come out of the football game, and on third down, Jake went in, was punting the football. Got off a hell of a kick. It went over Billy Cannon's head, and he was turning around, running for the football, and it hit in the mud and bounced right back in his hands. He turns around, and about 3 guys hit him, glanced off, and he dodges, head to the sideline. I believe there were a total of 7 players that had a shot at him, that touched him after he got the football. And I just sat down on the bench, and all of a sudden I hear the crowd roar, and I jumped up, ran the sideline. When I did, he goes right down the sideline, all the way for a touchdown. And they ended up beating us 7-3, I think.
We played extremely well. It was a hot, muggy night. Well-played football game. LSU got a break in the fourth quarter on a punt. And you have to give Billy Cannon a lot of credit, because the first 4 or 5 missed tackles, he more or less created them himself by shaking people off, and he just made that run that a great back is going to do from time to time. And of course, it was a heartbreak for us, because we felt deep down that we were the better ball club, that we had controlled the ball game, except we just didn't outscore them. And after the ball game was over, I've never seen a bunch of players as hurt as after that ball game.
Hell of a ball game. Probably the biggest disappointment of our lives. I guess the only time I've ever gotten a fight in my life. After the ball game was, in fact, I was crying coming off the football field. And my brother and one of the players was walking behind me, and a couple of LSU fans were out on the field. Of course, they were tough fans, I guarantee you. They were shaking the finger and calling me crybaby. And I stopped and hit this guy really before I thought, and set him down on the ground. I went on to the dressing room. When I got to the dressing room, bricks were coming through the dressing room. I remember Coach Falk kept us all inside, and so till we dressed together before he got me out and got us on the bus. And I do recall having some of the fans even still trying to get on the bus as we was pulling off. But that's the type of game it is, I guess, just about every time you play LSU. But it's a great rivalry, and we was fortunate enough to get a rematch with them in the Sugar Bowl that year.
Ole Miss was ranked second nationally in every poll and received a bid to the 1960 Sugar Bowl in New Orleans, Louisiana. For the Johnny Rebs, it was the 8th bowl game, the 6th since 1952, and the 3rd straight that was in a string of 15 that stretched to 1971. This particular bowl matchup was special because in a rare situation, Ole Miss would meet LSU again in a rematch of the muddy Halloween night in Baton Rouge. Head coach Paul Dietzel of LSU checks the skies for game conditions. 49 degrees, 95% humidity, but no rain. General Troy H. Middleton, president of LSU, tips his hat to TV fans, while Ole Miss head coach John Vaught smiles in anticipation of this classic rematch. Chancellor John D. Williams of Ole Miss shows his red and blue support. 82,500 fans stand with bowed heads as the prayer is delivered. Then the national anthem. And here come the Rebels in the blue and gray, while LSU races onto the field in their familiar yellow and white. The captains meet at center field. Lynn LeBlanc, the starting left tackle, represents LSU. For Ole Miss, the seniors are the game captains, with number 41, Charlie Flowers, and number 53, Ken Kirk, leading the way. LSU wins the toss and elects to receive. Kicking off for the Rebels, number 76, Robert Cayenne, the senior from Moss Point. The ball falls to the 14, where All-American Billy Cannon, the man who caused Ole Miss earlier defeat, returns the ball 10 yards to the 24. Number 43, senior Dewey Partridge of Philadelphia, Mississippi, makes the stop. On the opening snap, LSU quarterback Warren Rabb sets the tone for what will be a long afternoon for LSU with a fumble and a recovery for a 4-yard loss. On second down, Donnie Day carries off right guard for only a yard as number 62, Charles Kempinska, senior from Natchez, leads the stop for Ole Miss. 3rd down and 13. LSU drops into deep punt formation. Billy Cannon takes the snap. And Cannon will boot a 36-yarder to the Ole Miss 43. At quarterback for the Rebels will be number 10, senior Bobby Franklin of Clarksdale, Mississippi. On the opening play for the Rebels, Franklin connects with number 41, Charlie Flowers. The senior from Marianna, Arkansas, hauls it in for 11 yards and a first down at the LSU 46. Next, Flowers goes up the middle for a 6-yard gain. 2nd down and 4 at the LSU 40. Number 32, Cowboy Woodruff, gets the call. The Batesville senior plows ahead for 5 more, and another Rebel first down at the LSU 35. Billy Cannon on the tackle. Next, Flowers will go off left guard for 4 yards to the Tiger 31. Franklin now on 2nd down. Rolls right, double pumps, and goes over the middle, but the pass is incomplete, intended for number 31, Bobby Crespino. Flowers gets the next call and pulls off right tackle for 5 yards to the LSU 26. Now 4th down and 1 for Ole Miss. The Rebels go for it, and Flowers finds 2 yards off right guard to give the Rebels a first down on the LSU 24. Deep in Tiger territory, Franklin now tries to connect with Crespino over the middle, but number 12 of LSU, Warren Rabb, intercepts at the 5-yard line, stalling a would-be scoring drive. LSU can't move the ball, and Cannon punts it back, a 44-yarder to the Ole Miss 48. Woodruff returns 4 yards to the Tiger 48. Ole Miss is also unable to move the ball, and number 12, junior Jake Gibbs of Grenada, Mississippi, punts for Ole Miss. A 31-yard kick into the LSU end zone. 3 plays later, a 4th and 10 for LSU at the Tiger 20. Gaynell Kinchin must punt for LSU. The kick travels 38 yards to the Ole Miss 42, where Jake Gibbs receives and scoots 17 yards down the sideline to the LSU 41. But the struggle continues. Unable to make a first down in 3 attempts, Ole Miss faces 4th and 7. Gibbs punts. Jake carefully rolls the ball out of bounds at the LSU 7-yard line, a kick of 31 yards. LSU backed up deep. The give is to Billy Cannon, who loses a yard to the 6 as the Rebel All-America Charlie Flowers cracks the line for the tackle. Rabb, then on a busted play, will lose another yard as the Ole Miss defense swarms the Tiger quarterback. Now on 3rd down, the Tigers elect to punt. Cannon gets away a 39-yarder, where Gibbs signals for the fair catch. Now, number 12, Jake Gibbs at quarterback. Gibbs spins and goes over right tackle for 4 yards to the Tiger 34. With a man in motion, Gibbs gives to Flowers for 3 yards up the middle. Now 3rd down and 2 at the LSU 31. Woodruff gets the call, and Cowboy gallops around right in for 9 yards and a first down for Ole Miss on the LSU 22. Flowers goes over left guard for 3 yards to the 19. With number 31, Bobby Crespino, in motion, Jake Gibbs keeps around the left side for 3 yards to the Tigers 16. With the first quarter nearing an end, Ole Miss has 3rd down and 4. Flowers finds no room off left tackle as the first period ends, with a score knotted at 0-0. On 4th and 4, number 16, senior Billy Brewer of Columbus, Mississippi, holds for Kayette field goal, but the kick is no good. LSU again cannot manage the Rebel defense and elects to punt from the 19-yard line on 3rd down and 11. Cannon punts for 40 yards, the Ole Miss 41. After failing on 3 deep drives, Ole Miss with good field position again. Franklin in at quarterback. Gives to number 22, George Blair. The senior from Pascagoula sweeps right for 9 yards to midfield. Next, Charlie Flowers. 2 yards and the first down. The Rebels then try a reverse to Blair, but LSU sniffs it out for a 7-yard loss to the Ole Miss 45. Now 2nd down and 17. Franklin goes airborne. Off a fake. Bootleg. Bobby hits number 80, Jerry Daniels, for 23 yards and a first down at the LSU 32, where Cannon pushes Daniels out of bounds. Flowers then takes the pitch. Following blockers, Charlie slants back for 9 yards to the Tiger 23. The Rebels are marching again with the score still tied at 0-0. The Tiger defense stiffens, though, as Blair gains nothing. Next, Flowers gains 3 and fumbles, but he recovers himself at the LSU 20. But 1st and 10 for Ole Miss. Flowers finds only 1 yard to the Tiger 19. Number 10, Bobby Franklin bootlegs right, sees the opening, and storms ahead for 8 yards to the Tiger 11. Rebels faced with 3rd down and 1. Franklin quiets the crowd, tries the right side, but Cannon and Day of LSU stop the Rebel fullback for no gain. Big play, 4th down and 1. LSU comes up with another big defensive play, stopping Flowers for no gain, and the Tigers take over in downs at the 11-yard line, providing another Ole Miss scoring threat. LSU still has problems with the Ole Miss defense. After a 5-yard loss, LSU decides to punt on 2nd down. From his own end zone, Cannon punts for 39 yards. A near miscue, George Blair fumbles but recovers at the LSU 45. Now with Jake Gibbs in at quarterback, the Rebels look to pass. After rolling out, Gibbs sees no one downfield and loses a yard on the keeper. Gibbs now back to pass. Throws long, intended for Blair. But LSU's Jenkins intercepts for the Tigers and returns to the 25-yard line. For LSU, Jenkins stays in at quarterback and makes a wild toss that is bounced out of bounds after a 9-yard gain to the 34. Next for the Tigers, Purvis tries the middle. But number 78, senior Robert Owens of Charleston, and number 88, Larry Grantham, senior from Crystal Springs, combined for the Rebels for no gain. 3rd and 1. Matherin at quarterback, sneaks forward for the 1st down. For the Tigers, the first down of the day. LSU, however, can't make it 2 straight as Ole Miss in 2 plays drives the Tigers back 8 yards. Kinchin punts on 3rd down, out of bounds of the LSU 45. The punt went off the side of the foot for only 18 yards. Gibbs in at quarterback. Fakes the give and rolls right. Jake hits number 81, junior receiver Johnny Brewer of Redwood, Mississippi for 8 yards down to the Tiger 37. But like a cat with 9 lives, the Tigers avoid another Rebel scoring threat as Blair fumbles and Winston recovers for LSU. LSU still unable to generate any offense, must punt on 4th down. Cannon back. Kicks the ball 27 yards and out of bounds at the Ole Miss 37. The Rebels, now with their worst field position in the first half, score tied 0-0. Ole Miss mounts a scoring drive. Gibbs looks for the pass, but instead rushes for 5 yards. Also, LSU is penalized 15 yards for a personal foul, giving Ole Miss a 1st down on the Tiger 43. Gibbs then rolls right and connects with number 24, Jimmy Hall. The senior from Tupelo was pushed out of bounds for no gain. Second down and 10. 38 seconds left to go in the first half. Gibbs back to pass. He hits Cowboy Woodruff wide open, 43 yards and a Rebel touchdown. The Rebels score first in the 1960 Sugar Bowl. The point after attempt is good, and the Rebels lead 7-0. Franklin kicks from the 35-yard line after his first kick sailed out of bounds. Day returns for LSU 9 yards to the 42, where number 79, junior Joe Robertson of Crosby, Mississippi, makes the tackle for Ole Miss. Ole Miss later takes over on the 49, and Franklin falls forward, ending the first half with Ole Miss leading LSU by a score of 7-0 in the 1960 Sugar Bowl. Now time for halftime entertainment. A packed house in New Orleans, Louisiana. At halftime, the capacity crowd watches as the Ole Miss band performs first. The band carries the largest rebel flag in the country over the word Dixie. And afterwards, the band emerges with the spelling of Ole Miss.
Back in those days, you know, you had to play both ways, and we had two teams, the red team and blue team, and we had a lot of talent. We had a lot of good athletic ability on that 59 ball club, and it was just the attitude was such that we knew going into a ball game that we weren't going to lose. We just didn't know how bad we was going to beat the opposition. It was that kind of feeling of confidence that I think as a team you need to have, and with the ability and the talent that we had on that ball club, you know, we never entered a ball game thinking, well, you know, this game we're going to lose it, because we never did.
Ole Miss holds a 7-0 lead as the third quarter is underway. LSU kicks off. Bobby Franklin returns to the Ole Miss 36, a 19-yard run. The Rebels now mount a drive. After 2 plays, Franklin gained 6 yards for a Rebel first down on the 49. Charlie Flowers carries for 3 to the LSU 48. Franklin rolls left and fires downfield, but the pass is incomplete, intended for Crespino. With a man in motion on third down, Franklin finds George Blair for 14 yards and a first down on the LSU 34. Flowers around left end gains 4 to the Tiger 30. Second down and 6. Blair goes in motion. Franklin rolls right. Throws downfield for the junior from Greenville. Complete to Crespino at the LSU 18, a gain of 12 yards and another Rebel first down. Then Franklin finds number 88, Larry Grantham, for 18 yards and the second Rebel touchdown. Robert Kayat hits the point after with Billy Brewer holding. The score with 12:22 to go in the third quarter. Ole Miss 14, LSU nothing. On the Rebel kickoff, Cannon receives for LSU. Number 77, Robert Benton of East St. Louis, Illinois, makes the tackle for Ole Miss. Down by 2 touchdowns, Rabb directs LSU. He throws for Cannon. The pass is incomplete as number 60, junior Warner Alford of Macomb, covering for Ole Miss. Rabb again back to pass. Incomplete. Number 42, James Anderson of Clinton, on the play for the Rebels. The third time, Rabb finds Cannon for a 12-yard gain and a first down to the LSU 42. But the Rebel defense refuses to yield anymore, and LSU has to punt. Kinchin in punt formation. Racing up the middle for Ole Miss, Larry Grantham blocks the punt. LSU advances the ball, but possession goes over to the Rebels. Jake Gibbs in at quarterback. Rolls left. Tucks it to keep it. He's hit, and a ball pops loose. And LSU recovers as Purvis is there. At the Tiger 34. A give off the left side. Not much running room as Benton and Kayat stopped the Tiger for a gain of 3 to the LSU 37. Mathen back to pass. Fires to Gross, complete. He's run out of bounds by Blair and John Mitchell after a gain of 11 yards and a first down to the LSU 48. A play later, Mathen back to pass. It's intended for Purvis. But the long pass is intercepted by Billy Brewer of Ole Miss at the Rebel 18 and returned 4 yards to the 22. Flowers off right tackle is stopped by Leffert of LSU for a loss of 1. Franklin at quarterback. Back to pass. Rolls right. Flips it over the middle. Complete to Flowers. A gain of 22 yards and a first down at the Ole Miss 43. Several plays later, though, the Rebels must punt. Jake Gibbs in. Kicks the ball to the LSU 14. Bork returns to the 18. A 40-yard kick for Jake Gibbs. Now LSU, 1st and 10. Gross on the carry. Stopped by Gibbs off left tackle after a gain of 6 yards. On 2nd down. Jenkins on the keeper. Stopped by Owens after a gain of only 2 yards. 3rd down for LSU. Purvis off right guard. Stopped by Kempinska and Flowers for no gain. LSU must punt on 4th down. Kinchin gets away a bomb. A 51-yard punt that travels to the Ole Miss 25. Ole Miss's Jake Gibbs returns at 8 yards and is stopped by LSU's Purvis. The Rebels now have 1st and 10 at the Ole Miss 31. Gibbs at quarterback, and the give is to Flowers. He's stopped by Kinchin off right guard after a gain of 2 yards to the 33. Gibbs this time rolls out and keeps. He's stopped by Gross and Lott of LSU after a 3-yard gain to the 36. Jake back to pass. Looks downfield and finds Flowers. Complete for 14 yards, giving Ole Miss a first down at midfield. The Rebel drive those stalls, and a few plays later, Gibbs punts out of bounds to the LSU 21, a kick of 32 yards. LSU takes over 1st and 10. Rabb at quarterback. Back to pass. Number 51, Fred Lynches, smothers him for a 7-yard loss to the LSU 14. Rabb again back to pass. Looks downfield and finds Billy Cannon. Complete. He's tackled by Kayat after a gain of 18 yards and a first down to the LSU 32-yard line as the 3rd quarter comes to an end. Ole Miss leading LSU by a score of 14-0. Later, LSU must punt back to the Rebels. Cannon gets the kick away. It's a 36-yarder. Downed at the 26 of Ole Miss. Bobby Franklin in at quarterback. Gibbs on a draw to Flowers. A gain of 11 yards off right tackle. First down at the Ole Miss 37. Next, Blair on the carry. He's stopped by Cannon after a gain of 7 to the 44. Franklin off right tackle. Stopped by LSU after a gain of 3 yards to the 47. Blair's turn again. Gain of 9 yards. First down the LSU 45 as the Rebels roll over the Tigers. After LSU calls timeout. The give again is to Blair off right tackle. He's stopped by Kinchin after a gain of 1 to the 44. Franklin this time back to pass. Looks downfield. It's batted away by Branch. 3rd down for the Rebels. Franklin rolls right, looks downfield, and fires a pass complete to Partridge. A gain of 18 yards and a first down to the LSU 26. Rebels go airborne again. Franklin fakes and passes over the middle. Complete to Flower. 17-yard gain to the LSU 9-yard line. First and goal, Ole Miss. And a touchdown pass coming up as Franklin finds Blair, backs into the end zone. Touchdown, Rebels. With 9:18 left to go in the game, it's Ole Miss 20, LSU nothing. Kayet to try the point after. The kick on its way, but Franklin holding. It's good. And Ole Miss leads LSU 21-0 in the 1960 Sugar Bowl. Kayet will kick off for the Rebels. The ball goes to the LSU 4. Tommy Neck returns to the LSU 28, a 24-yard return. Knocked out of bounds by Partridge. Mathern at quarterback for LSU. He passes to McClain. It's complete. A gain of 22 yards and a first down on the midfield strike. Mathern again, back to pass. Complete again. 12 yards, first down to the Ole Miss 38. Tackle made by Blair. The Rebels call timeout. Then LSU at the Ole Miss 38 gives them a draw to Cannon. He's pushed out of bounds by Partridge after a gain of 4 to the Ole Miss 34. Mathern back to pass. It's intended for McClain. It's broken up by Terrell and nearly intercepted by the Rebels. This time, Grantham comes through for Ole Miss. As Mathern rolls the pass, he's hit and sacked for a 7-yard loss to the Ole Miss 41. Mathern back to pass again. Plenty of time. Goes downfield to McClain. It's ruled complete, but LSU is guilty of a personal foul. Plus, Ole Miss called for a foul, offsetting penalties. So fourth down again. Mathern back to pass. He's thrown for a big loss. Minus 17 yards. Grantham and Anderson for Ole Miss making the big stop. The ball goes to Ole Miss. The Rebels can't move it, and Gibbs punts to the LSU 15. Neck on the return. Stopped by Grantham for no return. A kick for 49 yards. LSU can't move the ball, and on fourth down, Cannon is in to punt. From the Tiger end zone, Cannon boots a 40-yard kick. Jake Gibbs calls fair catch. The Rebels are penalized 5 yards for delay of game to the 45. Anderson off right tackle, stopped by Norwood of LSU. No gain. But the play is called back. LSU is penalized 5 yards offside. So first down again. Now Elmore in at quarterback. He's stopped by Grant for a loss of 6 yards to the Ole Miss 44. Second down. Elmore passes to Robinson, complete. He's run out of bounds after a gain of 10 yards to the LSU 46. Elmore on third down is stopped by Norwood of LSU off right tackle for a loss of a yard. Fourth down, the Rebels must punt. Number 19, Doug Elmore, the sophomore from Reform, Alabama, punts it to the LSU 21, 42 yards and out of bounds. LSU, a last desperation play. Incomplete for Purvis. Rebels leading 21-0, and that's the way the game ends as Ole Miss knocks off LSU in the 1960 Sugar Bowl. Coach John Vaught beats Coach Dietzel at the end. And in New Orleans, the Rebels take victory.
Well, I really think that team was the sort of the culmination of a lot of years of work by the coaches and the players who preceded us. I really think that that started in 1947 when Coach Vaught took over and had Charlie Connolly and Barney Poole and Everett Harper and a number of other players who won the Southeastern Conference to the surprise of everybody. And a building process was in place. And when I was in high school, the thing I remember most about college football was going to the Sugar Bowl to see Ole Miss play Georgia Tech, and then going back to see Ole Miss play Navy. And Ole Miss had become a prominent football team by that time, by the middle 50s. I think that the work that the 1956 Cotton Bowl team did had a lot to do with us and the way we felt about our obligations as members of the team. I heard Charlie Flowers, the fullback on our All-American fullback on our team, say that the most important thing in his life was his participation on that 1959 football team. And I think a lot of us feel that way. There was a lot of talent there, but there was a lot of dedication. We had incredibly capable coaches. Coach Vaught was the most well-organized person I've ever been around. He could conceive an offense that has, as far as I can tell, has been unequaled in modern football. That team, for example, scored over 300 points, and as I said, had 21 points scored against it. When he drew a play up on the board, we believed that it would work. If we did what we were told to do, we believed it would succeed. The Coach Poole and Coach Hovis coaching our defense, and Coach Kennard and Coach Kane coaching the offensive line and offensive backs. Coach Davidson coaching the freshmen. Coach Swayze recruiting. Doc Knight as a trainer. Ray Poole as a kicker coach. Just across the board, they were wonderful coaches who had the respect of the players, and they respected us. And we worked well together as a unit. It is, in my memory, the time we spent together as a team on that night with that 1959 group, it's all very positive and very happy and very pleasant, in spite of the one loss on the record, which is not a happy thought. That was a wonderful football game, but that team, I feel good about that team.